In today's video, I'm going to be reviewing two new books, art books, that I'm adding to my multimedia art reference library. The first book is The Comprehensive Guide to Botanical Art Techniques, and the various techniques are watercolor, graphite, colored pencil, vellum, pen and ink, egg tempera, oils, printmaking, and more. And it's by the American Society of Botanical Artists and edited by Carol Woodin and Robin A. Jess. And the second book I'm going to be reviewing is going to be Creating Textured Landscapes with Pen, Ink, and Watercolor by Claudia Nice. Welcome to Country Boardwalk Studios. I'm CB Mack, a multimedia artist who enjoys making her own art supplies for plein air painting, urban sketching, and to use here in the studios. So, let's get started on these book reviews. I'm going to start with the Comprehensive Guide of Botanical Art Techniques. And this one is a really valuable book for a bunch of different mediums, like I said. And it's by the American Society of Botanical Artists, which is one of the top artist societies in the world. One of many. And this book has gorgeous reference photos. It's printed by Timber Press in Portland, Oregon. It has wonderful detailed stuff on the photographs and that. Let me just give you a brief review of it. It gives you an introduction on getting started with gathering up your flowers and basic botanical items to look at closely. Part 1 is drawing botanical subjects in black and white with the graphite skills. It goes over the basic materials. Then it goes into applied tutorials. It gives you actual detailed tutorials on various plant matter and that. You've got the applied tutorials. You've got some advanced tutorials. Then they go into pen and ink and the basics. And, they break it down to applied tutorials and advanced tutorials again. On part 2, they do botanical subjects in color with colored pencils, and they give you the basics. Then the tutorials they have, the advanced tutorials. Then they move on to watercolor on paper. Properties of watercolor paints, palette philosophies, transferring a drawing onto paper or vellum before painting. Then they go into watercolor wash and wet techniques. And then the usual applied tutorials, the advanced tutorials. And then they do watercolor on vellum. And they do a brief overview of what vellum is and the techniques of watercolor on vellum, sorry about that, and the basics with their applied tutorials, their advanced tutorials. Then part 3, we get into specialized techniques and compositions using field sketchbooks and journals. The egg tempera, gouache, and casein comparisons, etching techniques, painting a branch, metal point, painting in acrylics, gouache on paper, painting in oils. Then they have a section on composition, composition and practice, elements and principles of composition in botanical art, and then different approaches to botanical composition. So let me show you just a few of these pages in here. There's your introduction on the plant matters. Getting started. They tell you how to care for the cut flowers so they'll last a long time while you're painting or doing any of the artwork. They give you a list of supplies. They give you some techniques on working in the backcountry location. And I like this part right here because it tells and shows you how to set up a studio for this. And they go through 4 different artist studios. You've got Carrie DiConstantino, Dorothy DePaulo's, Jean Emmons, Shirley Allen's setups. It gives you a basic botany for botanical artists chapter, going over all the various specifics of different plants, fruits, roots, mushrooms, and ferns. And then you get into your section of drawing botanical subjects in black and white. The graphite skills, it shows you various basic stuff, discusses value. It gives you a really good value scale. It goes over the basic skills to get you started, shadows, shapes, cones, cylinders. And then you get into your applied tutorials. And I'm not going to go through each of these. I'm just going to quickly flip through. You've got fruits, vegetables, and branches. And they break it up into different sections. Illustrations from plant portraits from roots to tips is some of your advanced ones. Pen and ink skills. This section is really valuable because it shows you how to actually clean a nib with an old ink cartridge that needs to be replaced. It shows you how to use and make repairs with the surgical blade on your artwork, going over various marks. And then we've got the section here where you're doing scientific botanical illustrations with pen, brush, and ink, and all the various supplies that you would need for that. It's filled with a lot of valuable information for any kind of multimedia artist. Controlling color, mixing, blending, and burnishing for great color. Then we've got the watercolor on paper section, and they literally go over all the basic supplies you might need. Changes in paint ingredients. Color wheel, Sir Isaac Newton's color wheel. They talk of that. Portable palettes. Meat tray palettes. How to transfer a drawing on paper or vellum. So this book is really, really filled with a lot of charging watercolor washes, dry brush layering, glazing, and detailing, and an applied tutorial on that. I mean, they have got some really advanced tutorials, painting gloss, bloom, and reflected light in grapes. I apologize for that noise. Boone is throwing his toys this morning. Dry brush, watercolor, and mixing. Atmospheric perspective, how to create an illusion of depth. Achieving deep rich color in watercolor on Kelmscott vellum. Using opaque watercolors on dark vellum. So it's really detailed. Now this is the section on journaling, the field book, sketch book, and journal, and how to practice, and all the different supplies you might want to use, and how to get really detailed if you want on your sketches, on simple sketches, combining graphite and watercolor for visual separation. It's just a really valuable. Here's etching techniques. Now we're getting into the gouache and how to add textures. Painting on acrylic section. I mean, these are just really gorgeous illustrations and photos in the book with a lot of detailed information. I really appreciate the amount of information that is in this book. And it covers a variety of mediums and how to do botanical art of just about any kind. It is really a comprehensive guide, as it says in its title. It's a hardback book, and I believe I paid about $40, $40 US dollars for this book on Amazon. It might have been on sale. Let's get into our second book now. We've got Creating Textured Landscapes with Pen, Ink, and Watercolor by Claudia Nice. Now, you know she is one of my favorite artists. So there's not a book out there that I don't really have of hers much. I have almost all of her books. She's got a metric conversion chart here. In this book, she has the basic tools and techniques that she would use for making textures, creative clouds and skies, majestic mountains, hills, and mesas, texturing trees, trunks, and foliage, rugged rocks and gritty gravel. She's got a lot of tongue twisters in here in her table of contents. Transparent textures for rivers, falls, and lakes, flowers of the fields, and placing the human touch into your landscapes. And she too has a lot of gorgeous pictures in here. Basic tools, she talks about shapes, value, contrast, color, texture. Combining the compositional elements, she'll talk about that. Now here we get into some of her turning lines into texture with various mediums. She's got technical ink pens, micron, Pigma microns, liner brushes, Faber-Castell Pitt artist pens, brush and fine nibs, and colored pencils. Using masking fluid to help you find your textures. Here she's got a stylus or what we call an embossing tool that she's using. Synthetic brushes, razor blades or scalpels, toothbrushes, paint brushes, cotton swabs, sponges. She goes over a lot of how to use masking fluid to do textures, lifting. She goes over inks, the various types of inks that she likes to use. Then she gets into her various subjects and how to capture a rainbow. Canadian Rockies, doing mountains. Acrylic mountains, how to use acrylic paints. Bark textures, lichen. How to do various foliage and create different foliage with your ink. Using brush stippling. Stone walls, how to make those look textured. How to use a splatter screen. Get a little bit of a screen material to help make your splatters more. Rivers, lakes, and falls. I'm assuming falls is waterfalls. How to add sparkle with your razor blade or your X-Acto knife. Then we've got flowers and fields. And she gives you some color mixes in here for making your browns and grays, using reds and greens and purples, blues and yellows. How to make tall flowers. How to add depth, drawing perspective. She goes over that. How to make weathered wood. Just a lot of wonderful, valuable information, always I find in her books. Drawing a road, getting your perspective right with that at various angles. It's just a really valuable and informational filled book. Creating Textured Landscapes with Pen and Ink and Watercolor by Claudia Nice. And then A Comprehensive Guide, Botanical Art Techniques by the American Society of Botanical Artists. I hope both of these books, reviewing both of these books, has helped give you some ideas and piqued your interest for learning how to do techniques, various techniques. And I think in an upcoming video, I am going to try and focus on making textures. If you'd like to see that, please put a comment down below. If you have any other questions or any other comment suggestions, feel free to post those. I do enjoy reading each and every one of the comments, and I do try to answer any of your questions. Also, if this video was helpful or you liked it, please click that thumbs up, like button, share this with a friend, and subscribe. And I look forward to seeing you boardwalkers again next time. Goodbye for now.